Hola chica cheeks, how are you? I'm Jennifer Baskins and welcome back to my channel, here where I explain to you and we talk about a little bit of everything. We do how-to videos, we gather all of your questions and create fun videos for you guys with really informative information. So this month we're dedicating this whole channel to different hair textures, and this particular week we're talking about curl texture. Okay, if you have any other type of texture, fine or medium, all of those are in my channel, so you guys don't miss it. So with no further ado, this is part 2 of talking about specifically curly texture. Point number 6, you guys. Have you heard of the blopping technique? Yeah, and hopefully I'm saying that right for you guys. Blopping. So P-L-O-P-P-I-N-G. Google it, okay? Again, probably a million different videos out there. It's like the latest technique. If you had not heard it, I don't even know where you've been, girl. But man, this technique is just so amazing for your hair type. I'm not even kidding. Like I wish I can do the technique, you know. Let me see if I can find someone that has really pretty curly texture, or like at least some type of curl. I'm gonna demonstrate it to you guys. In the meantime, I don't have that texture, so if I do it, it's not gonna work, okay? You're not gonna see the amazing results that this technique brings to your hair texture. So what is this whole blopping technique, okay? We talked about, just rewind a little bit, we talked about not shampooing your hair every single day, and if you do feel like you have to wash it, what to do, right? So now, blopping technique. This is something that you're going to use after you shampoo, after you condition, after you did whatever you chose to do that day, okay? It's only going to work on wet hair, right? So if you feel like, you know, you're going somewhere and you need your hair to look amazing that day, then just simply wet it, right? Like maybe do a fake wash that day, right? Or just use a spray water, kind of get it wet and stuff, right? So you basically want to do this, and I'm gonna try to give you like steps on how to do it, right? What you want to do, should we start with that or should we start with what the benefits are? Let me start actually with the benefits, okay? So it makes sense. The benefits of the blopping technique is that it's going to make your hair feel bouncy, it's going to reinforce that curl, it's going to reconstruct that curl over time, of course. It's also going to remove most of the water out of the hair, so then you have essentially 20 or 30% water in your hair that can be air dry. Because when we're talking about reconstructing your curl and making it all pretty all over again, you do not want to be using any you know, your traditional hair tools, right? So you want to be letting it be free, first of all, right? Not pulling it up and away, and also letting it air dry. It's really, really important. But if you get out there, right, and you're just, let's say you did whatever shampooing technique or fake wash, whatever, and then you just went out there, the hair is not going to air dry nicely. So you have now this blopping technique that is going to remove most of the water. The water is going to be the water that is going to be dripping if you don't, right? And then that way, when you're applying those products, you're going to have more of that product benefit versus product and water then essentially is being diluted, right? So like I said, it's a great technique. It's going to make your curls bounce. It's just amazing. You just actually, I'm just going to say, if you have curly hair and if you're not blopping, I don't know where you have been and why you're not doing it, honestly. So anyways, blopping technique. How do we do it? So after you do your fake wash and or your real wash, whatever you choose to do, you're going to grab a hair towel, okay? I guess you could get like a normal towel, right? But we want to recommend like just more of 100% cotton type of fabric, okay? Because it's going to be less frizzy for you. A lot of the towels that are sold anywhere or that we use for our body, they tend to create a little frizziness and friction when you have it on your head. And so you want to use a hair towel, or we can use something that is similar to what you see us stylists using behind the chair, right? So you grab that towel. Oh, another great thing that you can use is a t-shirt, okay? A t-shirt, you can find the 100% cotton t-shirt, right? You don't have to rip it. If you have one rip, doesn't matter, all you need is the fabric, right? Now you're gonna flip your head, right? I mean, upside down. Just be careful, don't fall forward. So you're gonna flip your head, flip all of your hair, okay? And if you have not detangled your hair at this point, okay, you can go ahead and detangle the hair, all right? You're gonna apply, as you're upside down or your head is flipped, you're gonna apply a mousse type of product or something that has some type of hold, okay? There's a lot of cream-based products that hydrates, and then at the same time, when it dries, it gives you a little bit of that hold. So for example, in DAVINES, I love the curl building serum. It's just amazing. When you're using, or when you have it between your hands, it feels kind of like slimy in a way. So it's a great detangler, but once it's completely air dry, it just kind of locks the curl. So you can use that. You can use a mousse consistency product too. I will highly recommend though staying away from products that have a lot of alcohol in it, because if you're constantly doing this technique or applying that product on your hair over time, that can dehydrate your hair too. If you haven't yet, this is the area that you want to comb your hair through. You want to do it with a wide tooth comb, nothing too fine, okay? Sometimes the wet brushes also are really good to detangle your hair depending on the texture that you have, okay? So basically, if your hair is really curly, you want to do more of a wide tooth comb, okay? They almost look like a big hand trying to, like, you know, detangle your hair. And at the same time, while you're doing this, you're also well distributing the product that you're applying, okay? So because you don't want the product to just sit on the surface of your head or on just your roots, okay? You want to make sure that it's evenly distributed throughout your hair, so you have that nice bouncy effect and less frizzy hair throughout your whole entire head. Some areas that people kind of miss is sometimes the back, okay? It's really important to pay attention to that. So okay, let's get back to the blopping technique. You're upside down, you already put product, it's already detangled. You're gonna grab that t-shirt, that towel, that cotton fabric, right? And you're gonna wrap it around your head, okay? You're doing almost a turban, okay? So you're wrapping it around. Some people call it turban, some people call it like a burrito, right? So you wrap it around, okay? Make sure that every single hair is in there, especially your ends, okay? So if the towel is not big enough for your hair, which you can find a lot of towels on even Amazon that are designed for the blopping technique, right? They tend to be a little bit longer, but let's say that your hair is super long and you need 2 towels, well, do so, right? You can always do that, or tuck in your hair. The point here, you guys, is that you want to use that fabric to absorb all of the water, okay? So you want to leave this turban looking thing on your head for at least 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, I would say, okay? Allow the fabric to absorb at least up to 70 to 80% of that water together with the product in there, right? But most likely it's the water that is going to faster be absorbed by this fabric, okay? And once you do that, you just undo the turban, okay? Undo the knot, whatever you end up doing, okay? And you're gonna right away you know, notice how much more bouncy your hair overall is, because since you had flipped the hair and you had put this thing and kind of in a way set the hair, you're setting it, you know, in a way against the gravity, creating some natural volume, okay? So we're not gonna have Texas hair here, right? But if you're doing it upside down, right, and setting it that way, like I said, when you bring it back up, you're gonna have this nice natural volume bouncy effect, versus that if you, instead of doing this, okay, which is the old technique, which is the scrunching technique, okay? And sometimes we use like the heat with the diffuser, and you're like blow drying it this way, okay? So instead of doing that, if you have the time, okay, so go ahead and do the blopping technique. It's there's no heat required, right? So therefore, over time is so much better for your hair. Now, at the end of this point, if you decide or you feel like your hair needs, let's say, more oil, more of that product that you initially put on your hair, you can go ahead, then just gently scrunch and apply the product, okay? Make sure that you're not losing the volume. So let's say you need product up here, so you want to flip the hair upside down and then apply that product while you're in that position, okay? Tip number 7, you guys. So we're talking about when can you detangle the hair, right? So like I said, when your hair technically is wet, that's when you want to do it. So some of us will do it in the shower while the water is running through your hair, just because it's easier. It just kind of slides right in. So just bring in your stuff, your products, and products, I mean like conditioner and the hydration mask inside of your shower with your wet brush or your white tooth comb, so you can detangle the hair right there if you can, right? Because I noticed that when the hair when the water's it's running it through your hair, it just makes it so much easier to separate, to do all these different things. Okay, so this is a time that you want to brush it. Now on the opposite side, when is it that you shouldn't be brushing it? You don't want to brush it obviously when it's dry, and we had talked about this in the previous video too. You don't want to brush it when it's dry, because then you're creating too much frizz, and then if you had applied some type of product that is going to hold that curl, you're going to create white specks throughout the hair. Yes?
No, I was not putting a movie on.
All right, you guys, I'm back from that break. I had to take a mommy break really quick. Okay, we get back to our points. Okay, point number 8. All right, this one is really, really important. Okay, because I know sometimes with certain trends out there, we want to follow them, right? We all want to have sometimes the opposite of what we have. So if you have curly hair, I'm sure you had flat iron your hair. So I'm here to tell you, stop doing it. Okay, because I feel like now the trends, okay, and this is probably going to be here for a long time, is to enhance your natural texture, okay? And the reason why I really strongly believe that is here to stay is because nowadays women, we try to do so much, right? We work, we're parents, we're students, we're also take care of, maybe our parents, our siblings, like who knows, right? So we have so many hats in our day-to-day time, so we don't have sometimes time to flat iron your hair or do all these different things. If you do, I would say own it, do it, because you also deserve time for yourself. But it's not like back in the day that the trend was like have your hair straight no matter what texture you are, no matter what it takes to get you to that flat iron look, right? So things have been turned around, right? And let's say that you're a gal around my age, and when you're a teenager, you used to flat iron the heck out of your hair, and you used to maybe relax it. Who knows what chemicals your hair had been through to get it to that straight stage, right? So let's say now you want to rebuild that curl, right? So you definitely want to stay away from hot tools in general, okay? Don't flat iron. Don't try to be doing round brushes. Maybe occasionally, okay, and this is just in case you need your hair to dry faster. Let's say you did the blopping technique, but you still kind of need to look just like perfect in the next 30 minutes, right? And obviously that extra 20-30% of wet hair that is still there, water that is still in your hair, is not gonna dry in 30 minutes, right? So you have to pull out the blow dryer. What do? Use the diffuser. Okay, you can go upside down, use the diffuser with the product in it, so you don't lose the volume, and you're still controlling that frizziness, right? I would suggest using the low heat, okay? And first of all, before you apply that hot tool on your hair, use a thermal protectant. So there's a lot of mousses that already have that thermal protectant, or simply just get like my favorite is the Mellow Thermal Shield by DAVINES. It protects after 450. The company tells you what degree your hair is being protected at, versus some other companies you just don't know, right, if enough protection for your hair. But like I said, if you can just kind of stay in the blopping technique and work towards that, work on rebuilding your curl, is just the best that you can do to your hair over time, right? Because like I said, the more you stretch it, the more blowouts or flat irons you're doing, you're kind of working against your natural texture and against your purpose of rebuilding that curl. Tip number 9, you guys, we're almost towards the end of this video. Oh my gosh, so much information. So the tip number 9, okay, Now that we talked about, you know, what you have to do and what you don't have to do, right? Let's say that you're a gal that is coming from doing blowouts every time, right? Because you just didn't know how to take care of your curls, so you decided that it was easier to relax your hair and do everything possible to control the frizz and to make it straight, right? So, but now let's say you want to rebuild it. So like I said, there is a lot of techniques out there. There's a lot of products that it could help you with that, because curly texture does need a lot of hydration. But besides everything that you just learned on part 1 of this video and the beginning of this video, you can also rebuild the curl by doing certain techniques, okay? And 2 of my favorite of those techniques are, it's braiding the hair, okay? So at night, if your hair either dry or wet, however you have it, right? You want to put some product in it, right? Something that has some creamy or oil consistency. And you can do even simple things like 2 French braids, okay? You do 1 on this side, 1 on the opposite side. You make sure that you're braiding it all the way down to the ends. You maybe leave like a ½ an inch out, okay? And you use kind of like a loose tie, nothing too tight, okay? Even the hair rubber bands, the black ones or the clear ones, are fine too. So you want to make sure you put a little knot on the end. Like I said, nothing too tight, because you don't want your hair to break off either, right? Especially as you're sleeping and moving around. But by doing that, if your hair, let's say, is almost it's more like wavy, but your hair is meant to be curly, you're reinforcing that curl and setting it, because as you're French braiding it, that hair is kind of taking that S pattern. So then the next day you can undo that French braid, or let's say you just did 1 whole braid, and you will have this natural bouncy effect, okay, that you can like maybe put some more product on it. So like as you're listening to me, you know, you can tell that it's all about the build-up or all the layering of the different products, okay? Another good way too, if you don't want to sleep on a French braid, I like to go through my whole entire hair, okay, or I guess on my client's hair, and then I do a 2-strand braid, okay? So you're grabbing like little triangles or rectangle pieces, okay, and you want to do like smaller pieces more around the hairline, especially up here, because I noticed that over time those are the areas that tend to stretch a lot faster than the back, right? So you're grabbing a 2-strand braid, okay, and you're twisting it, okay? You're creating this looping technique, okay, that necessarily needs to be tied at the end, okay? But you just want to loop it around with some product in it, and then you just let it sit, or maybe do the blopping technique after that, right? So things like that will help the hair kind of like rebuild and retake that S pattern shape. So over time, not only you're controlling that frizziness because you're looping the little tiny hairs that wants to stand out, you're looping it throughout the braid, but it's also reinforcing that curl that I'm talking about, right? So I highly recommend doing something like that, like I said, if you've been stretching your hair, so that way your hair kind of adjusts to what you're trying to do now. And another thing too, try not to comb it so often, okay? If you're in the process, like I said, to like retrain that curl back to its natural state. Tip number 10, and we're at the end of this beautiful video. I know it's kind of long, you guys, but like I said, there's so much to talk about, okay? So tip number 10, okay, some of the questions, and then I'm grabbing it from your guys' questions. A lot of people will say, well, my hair never grows. It always, I don't know where the length grows, right? And if you're dealing with gray hair, you're like, what the heck? I can see my grays coming through my roots, but I don't see the length down here, okay? So let me tell you the reason why this happens, okay? And this might or might not apply to you, but one of the things I notice is that we just get frustrated. We think that in a matter of a year, your hair is going to be down to your waist, right? And it's not the case, okay? And the reason why is because, like I said, your hair is curly, and so it takes a long time to show that length even to your shoulders. So if you want to see some of that length, things can take sometimes up to 3 to 4 years, okay, minimum, okay? And this is considering that your hair grows in a normal pace, okay? Sometimes we don't see also length or hair growth because we have internal health problems too, right? So thyroid can be one of those problems, right? Or lack of good nutrition can slow down the process of your hair growth. But like I said, you can never compare with someone that has natural straight hair with someone that has curly hair, because even if a half inch, even a half inch to an inch on someone with straight hair, you'll notice a difference right away, versus with a curl, it needs like, it's not even about inches, it's like it needs that full curl, right? So even when I'm cutting curly hair, I talk about, you know, 2 or 3 curls, right, instead of, you know, 3 or 4 inches, right? So you want to think about that in your case it's a little bit different. Don't you know, just give it some time, don't give up halfway there, okay? I promise that your hair is gonna be long at some point. Also, something important to consider is your scalp. Like I said earlier on a previous video too, if your scalp is not healthy, that can also collaborate with a hair loss, right? So if you want healthy hair or hair strand, you want to have a healthy scalp, right? So you want to check if your hair scalp is not flaking, making sure that you don't have dandruff, like problems like this, because if you don't fix that problems, you guys, you can create a lot of hair loss over time and never see that length, okay? So if you want to learn more about that, go to part number 2 video, because I'm explaining all about that and what to do with it, okay? Another reason too is that, you know, let's say your scalp is healthy. I would always say check your scalp first. If your scalp is healthy and you're giving it some time, let's say you've been growing it out for 5 years and you still don't see too much of that length, maybe you should consider a haircut, honestly, okay? Maybe your ends are the problem. Maybe, yeah, your hair is producing what it needs to produce to grow the hair. Your health, your state of health is good, and hair is coming out of your scalp, but in the ends is breaking off, right? So you're maybe applying too much heat and not using thermoprotectant. And let's say if you're not using any hot tools, you just haven't had a good, decent haircut that is going to allow that hair to grow nicely, okay? Sometimes too, if you're using some hair ties, that could also break the hair. So last point of this number 10 tip is that you want to make sure that your hair is free. Curls love to be free. Curls have their own mind self. Sometimes like the right side might do something different than the left side, and even the next day your hair might be doing something completely different than the prior day, right? So you want to listen to your curls. You want to pay attention which way are they curling, if they're curling forward, back, and all that. So you just let them be free, okay? That's the fun part about having curly texture, that you can just let it be wild, be big, okay? Embrace that. You cannot expect your curly hair to be you know, tapered or like straight and conservative. I would say usually curly hair wants to be wild out there, and that's the beauty of that hair texture. So what do you guys think? Oh my gosh, so much information. I was trying to condense it to like 6 tips, but there's no way. I mean, I had to do 10, and I feel like I still have so much more to talk about. So if you guys have any particular questions that are just specifically for your case, your personal case, let me know down here in the comments, because I would love to answer your questions, and who knows, maybe create a different video thread. So if you go back to my channel, I have some great content on curly hair specifically. And if you have not seen the part 1 of this video, okay, that was posted before too. And so you can gather all the 10 points that I thought it was like really important for you guys to know and to talk about, to share, okay? But anyhow, I hope you guys really like it. Give it some thumbs up if you did, because this is going to definitely help me find out what you guys are interested in talking about and learning from me. And also, if you want to continue seeing more of these really fun, interesting videos, you want to go ahead and also subscribe to my channel, click on that bell so you get the notification every time I post a video, which is once a week, you guys. So it's a lot of stuff that we talk through this amazing platform, okay? And like I said, if you guys like it, give it a thumbs up, and all of the social media information will be located down here in the information box, together with stuff that we talked about today, important links that I think you guys should at least check it out, okay? If you have any questions, don't forget to DM me. I'm really easy to approach. I will try to answer your questions as soon as I can. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.